Last year ago, I made a video with my classmates of making an Africa Path video. The result of the video is trying to find out what is the way of solving the problems and finding out what is the best technique to overcome the problems in Africa. Now, one of the classmates, Rania, who mentioned, or Zaytun mentioned as well, that it's very taboo and very political, something that do not like to share in public, because you get death penalty just to talk this sort of stuff, or it doesn't look good. That's the whole basic of the video. And towards the end of the video, we mentioned about like education of giving the community, especially for the kids and young adults as well, to integrate it in, to have a better life and to make the community a lot better. That was the video that I made last year ago. But what I'm making a video of having a little bit depth of information what is actually going on in the Africa community. Like, I'm not sure which community that I specifically target to, and culture, but countries, but please do correct me, okay? Now, we got one of this HR from one of the charity companies from Kenya who had a guest speaking panel in our class, which happened like a couple months ago, but I didn't make the chance to make a video because I was just too busy doing my assessments. I'll make it now. She mentioned about the complexity of going on with the community development in her region, and she finds a very similar problem in surrounding countries as well. One thing that I do not understand the big picture of why is it ongoing like that. Like, I read the book of Africa Aid, or Stop Aid book, saying that when you give too much aid to a country, they don't need to work. You give them money, you give them medicals, you give them everything. Yeah, you can flood as much money you can, but it just kill it in the long term. And for me, I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. But what this guest speaker speaking about is something that I don't think Westerners will understand, is that yes, you can go through charities like Save the Children or World Vision. You can pretty much donate your money or even sponsor a child. Now, for example, she gave us an idea, like, okay, if you sponsor a child, you write letters, you have exchange pictures of who your money or who that person might be is, and often they have this problem of out of the sudden they stop engaged, and that is very out of the sudden you're like, why would a child will stop to respond to you or no longer in the services? And it comes down to the conclusion of culture tradition of getting through of the topic, and I find it really fascinating. I wanted to learn more about it, and I remember I was speaking to one of my classmates. She's from Congo, and I was just having a laugh, just to see what's it like to get married in their culture. And from her, she's like, well, for a man to order to marry her in her country, you need to show that you have wealth, or you have assets, and by showing that, you need a cow, a livestock cow, a flocks of chicken. So the opposite family, the daughter's family, will accept you because they see you as you're a man. You have the resources, the assets. And that sounds like very different than today. Like, a lot of cultures will go for hypergamy. Hypergamy is like dating the best of the best, has the best resources. That's which is money, finance, or a better job. And just to hear that, it's like, wow, coming from, I'm pretty sure majority of our ancestors is pretty much will go through a similar phase. But just to hear that from her, it sounds very fascinating just to hear that. And going through that, the guest speakers mentioned that, well, for a man, for a boy, to order for him to be a man, it's not going through all this education. The boy will run away from this safe house or these education places where all the charities be funded from donation, keep them secure, and they go to their families. But they tend to run away from home, and they want to follow their culture to tradition, wanting to be a man. So for them to be a man, they run away and they find a compatible girl, which they will go out and steal livestock, a cow, sheep, flocks of chicken, for them to get married. So they want to get to the man stage, because it's a very patriarchy society. It's a very manly society, and they will do things that they will follow that's been happening from their ancestors and from generation to generations. So they have that on the side. And I find it very interesting just to know that, because you have boys will wanting to run away. One of the fabulous resources that's being funded by donation, and you ask yourself, why the hell would they want to run away? They have food, they have shelter, they have education, they have a better life, they have like future ahead of us, and all of a sudden they want to run away and get a side of family because they don't want to feel left out. And that is something that I find it fascinating from the boys' side. They want to be a man straight away, start a family. They don't want to feel left out. And the same thing will happen with the girls. The girls will run away, and they will gather this family tradition of majority of the girls will come together and getting a FGM, female genital mutation, and for them to get rid of the clitoris and some other organs parts in the vaginal. And if they don't get that done, they feel left out because all the girls around them has already done it. So it's like a peer pressure thing. So you got the boys will go out to try to be a man and try to do things to get married, so they fit into culture. You got girls at a really young age and boys in really young age are trying to do the same thing as well, follow the culture, tradition, and so on. And I find it really, it's very complex what anyone can think of. So I find it very, wanted to learn a lot more, but that is one part that resources does not really work in that scenario. Now obviously I'm not saying the whole of African continent is like that, but I'm pretty sure some parts of the country it's very high, culture, tradition, and follow that trend. And I find it really fascinating just to see that. That is one part of the story, but having my classmates who would just talk like for half an hour, trying to come out ideas, and we come out education, which clearly not all the youth or child wanted to go through that path. And we've been flooding with all the money for vaccines, and go from there on resources and just give them everything. And I find it very fascinating just to hear from the teachers just saying you've got female genital mutation, you've got boys are running away, wants to be a man, getting engaged. And I find it interesting. And one of the questions that one of our classmates mentioned is, well, if I made a donation, how much percentage would go to the community? Now the thing is that there's a lot involved. Obviously there's a percentage that the company gets. There's also another percentage that the community gets. But one thing that most people do not understand is that a large amount of money, it goes towards the security. So the security, we're talking about sending out goods, foods, white goods, medical goods, to transportation to the disadvantaged area that's needed to be helped. Now during that process there's a lot of thieves and there's a lot of terrorism will go in and snatch the goods, and that's the reason why you got the money going towards the security. So you got that money going towards the security just to secure the goods going to A to B by safety means, and by using the UN soldiers, military, just to secure the package going through A to B. So that is the another amount of your money goes there. You got your money goes to education, but I'm just giving you a slight idea of what's it like. I'm still haven't uncovered the majority of the problem, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will say, the culture is very different. It's very complex than what you expected. When you're giving out donation, you think you're going to help out the community, which not always the case is. So that is the video that I wanted to have a bit of a better understanding of what I previously made last year ago. So that is the story.